Protests in the wake of the killing of a Minneapolis man while in police custody have extended throughout the country, from Seattle all the way to the Berkshires. Pittsfield Police Chief Michael Wynn spoke with Carolee McGrath about the killing of George Floyd, police reform, and the ongoing relationship between the police and the public.
Personally, it was horrifying. Professionally, it angered me very, very much.
And I know that there was just automatic agreement among police chiefs across the country, which in other cases doesn't always seem to happen as quickly. What had you been hearing, from your fellow police chiefs and certainly from your rank and file?
Well, from the police chiefs, particularly the Massachusetts police chiefs, who have spent so much time over the last 5 years to 8 years working on refining our policies and our training and our procedural justice. It was just inexplicable. We couldn't understand how we could be seeing that. Officers had a lot of questions. As somebody who's been involved in police training for most of my career, I just couldn't fathom it.
And talk a little bit, since you have been involved in training for that long, where would that come from? Are those practices used? And now there's so many calls now for police reform. I'm assuming that's where you would start.
Prior to the George Floyd killing, I wasn't familiar with their policies at all, and I'm still not familiar with their training. We certainly don't train techniques like that in the Commonwealth, and I have since reviewed their policy. Neck restraints under the policy that was in place at the time were permitted, with the application and timeliness of those restraints was very vague, so I still don't understand where that would have come from.
And what would you like to see now that there's so much discussion about police reform? And I know that people are coming at it from different political views, but as somebody on the job for 25 years, what do you think needs to be done?
One of the things that I've been saying for quite some time, definitely for the last 5 or 6 years, that the Mass Chiefs have been working on our responses to the final report of the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing, is we need some consistency. And so there are 18,000 police departments thereabouts in this country, and every police department has basically a different policy manual. Most of them have some differences in training. And so things vary not only from state to state, but in many cases within the states. And that needs to be addressed. Some standards across the board need to be established.
Is there anything in particular that you would say right off the bat has to change?
I've spent several weeks trying to look at this from a lot of different angles. Certainly, standards for use of force need to be made more consistent. Standards for duty to intercede need to be made more consistent. Use of force documentation and reporting, but it's not just the use of force stuff. It's policy manuals in general need to be reevaluated and realigned.
Can you talk a little bit about how police are to respond? I mean, in the aftermath of this, there have been demonstrations, many of them peaceful, many of them have turned violent as well. And so you're sort of really under scrutiny as far as a police officer not to be perceived as using excessive force. On the other side, you have precincts in Minneapolis, certainly a big city and where this all started, in Seattle, that were abandoned by police. So what's the best way to respond in these situations?
If I knew what the best way was, I'd be on the road sharing that with other people, and my law enforcement career would be over. I can tell you what we've utilized and what I've seen utilized with success. We communicate with the organizers of our rallies and protests, and we let them know that first and foremost, First Amendment protected free speech is something we value and something we're there to protect, but we also expect certain standards of decorum and behavior, and we can't tolerate or look away at criminal behavior. And so we'll do the best we can to enable them to gather and state their opinion and protect them. But if we see criminal acts, we have to have a plan to deal with that as well.
One of the issues that's been brought up is de-escalation in the midst of all of this. And I know that you had an incident recently where your officers used a beanbag round to disarm a man who appeared to be distraught. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, an individual contacted our department indicating that he was armed and that he was going to start to shoot up his neighbors' apartments and residences, and that he wanted to provoke a confrontation. And patrol officers responded. Came in as a gun call. They responded as if it was a gun call. They located the party. They were able to maintain distance and positions of cover and attempt to communicate with him. And he was non-responsive to their attempts to communicate. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, so our mental health co-responder wasn't available. So they continued to communicate until he escalated, and because they had distance and cover, they were able to utilize less lethal rounds, which were successful in getting him to drop the weapon, which after the fact was revealed to be a BB gun. So that's resolution that we can be happy with, because up until he was in custody, we didn't know it wasn't a live firearm.
When you talk about, the unknown, certainly with policing, can you discuss a little bit the morale of your officers at this point, and maybe officers across the country? We've seen where 2 African-American police officers were killed, one in Oakland after a riot, a retired police captain from St. Louis, 77 years old. There's also a police officer in Las Vegas who is on a ventilator currently, also injured on the job in the midst of this. How are your police officers feeling in the midst of going out on patrol?
Well, I can't speak for officers across the country other than what we're seeing on social media. I certainly can speak for our officers. It's frustrating and frightening. It's the vast majority of police officers come to this profession because they want to help people, they want to protect people, and the job can be dangerous enough no matter what is going on. But when we see police officers that are being deliberately targeted simply because of their profession, that's an added degree of apprehension. When we see police officers that are being surveilled or counter-surveilled and their homes are being targeted, that's frightening. So, we've been reminding all of our officers to watch their own backs and watch their partners' backs and be especially vigilant when they're off duty.
There have also been calls, in addition, by some, to defund the police. What's your response to that?
Well, it's interesting because even the people who are making those vocal calls haven't really defined what they mean by defund. And so it runs the gamut from taking all the funds and shutting the police department down, which I don't see as feasible, to reallocation to other resources. And we've seen models, taking funds and putting them into homelessness programs, or taking funds and putting them into poverty programs. And as I said in an interview with another media outlet, so we want all of these social service programs to be adequately funded. We rely on those programs. And so the more funded they are, the better we can work cooperatively. But in places like Berkshire County and in Pittsfield, we're often the point of entry for many people into these social service programs. So by defunding us, you're actually negatively impacting some of them. We provide the transports to the homeless shelter. We do the prep work and the advocacy for victims who are going to work with our Women's Services Center and Rape Crisis Center. So while I understand the intent, the unintended consequences are uncertain. Certainly trying new models and as we're going to do, put some funds from our salary line item into adding clinician capability. Ideas like that have merit.
Given the environment, how do you rebuild a relationship between police and those they are called to protect? And also, I guess, the image of police right now?
Relationship building is constant work. It's constant work. It requires constant investment. And rebuilding the image requires positive interactions. When we do our procedural justice classes with the officers, one of the examples we use, or the models we use, is treat every encounter like it's a banking transaction and continue to make deposits into those relationships. So when, God forbid, a crisis happens and there's a withdrawal, we still have a positive balance. And we've spent years in those making those deposits, which is one of the reasons that after our NAACP sponsored demonstration here a couple weekends ago, that we actually got a thank you letter from our NAACP for the relationship we have.